Hello and welcome back to Phoenix Ace Attorney, where we are back February 25th, 9:47 a.m. District Court, Defendant Lobby number 2. This is Defendant Lobby, alright, but there's no defendant. I've been trying to reach Lana all morning. Where could she be? Where's EMA, for that matter? It almost seems as if something's been happening behind the scenes. Hello, Edgeworth. Edgeworth. Knowing you, you've already figured it out. With the owner of the 777777790 number, that is. Well, a pretty strong hunch. Looks like I'm not the only one who's figured it out. You know, the only reason this trial didn't reach a verdict yesterday is because there was still the room for doubt regarding the psyche record. If that number does belong to whom you suspect, then no doubt will remain. After all, he hasn't been officially charged with anything. True. Not yet. In any event, once all doubt has been removed from that list, I can call for a ruling. 5 minutes, right? Chief Prosecutor Sky will be found guilty. But she didn't do it. I figured you'd say as much. That's why I come here, to hear what you have to say. First time he's ever done something like this. Juan is hiding something, and the only way we'll ever know the truth is to draw it out of her. The truth. Everything goes back to the S09 incident. Don't be stupid. Today's the last day of the trial. We don't have time to reminisce about the past. That depends on you. If she's found guilty, you'll lose your only chance to find out what really happened. I'll think about it. See you in court, Wright. This is it. If I'm ever going to find out what Chief Gaunt has on her, it's now. To name. The court is now in session for the trial of Ms. Lana Sky. The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution is ready, Your Honor. Normally this is when the prosecution puts forth its opening statement. But before that, the police chief has a proposal to make. Chief Gaunt. Hi. So happy to see you with your rose-tinted color glasses? Rose-colored glasses? However you want to say that. Morning, folks. How's everyone doing? Hey, you been back to the pool yet? No, I'm drowning enough as into my work. Oh, that's a good one. Don't think I could top that. If you don't mind me asking, Chief, exactly what is this proposal of yours? None, that is to say, the defendant has asked me if she could speak directly to the court. She wants to do what? Having heard what she intends to say, I feel she should be granted her request. In the end, it should save everyone a lot of time and trouble. Hello, Lana. What's this all about, defendant? I'd just like to make one simple request, and I'll be finished. Well then, what's your request? Your Honor, I'd like you to put an immediate end to this trial. Huh? I confess to all charges against me. On February 21st of this year, I murdered Detective Bruce Goodman in the underground parking lot at the prosecutor's office. No, Lana! Are we really surprised? You can't. Your Honor, the defense claim does not change the defense's plea. In that case, Mr. Wright, I no longer require your services. But Lana, Your Honor, I hereby forfeit my right to an attorney. The prosecution may lack direct evidence against me, but it has sufficiently proven its case through testimony and circumstantial evidence. I'd like you to render your verdict now, if you please. Well, the defendant has the right to self-representation. Her request is legally valid, although this is an unprecedented situation. Indeed, it appears there's no further need to continue this trial, even if Mr. Wright may feel otherwise. This can't be happening. It appears the time for a verdict has arrived. This court defines the defendant. Hello, Edgy. One moment, Your Honor. Mr. Edgeworth. The prosecution has not yet proven the defendant guilty beyond a reasonable doubt. Any ruling at the stage would certainly be premature. Come on now, Worthy. I understand this is a difficult time for you, but why don't you just be a good little boy and keep your mouth shut? I don't think I care for your tone, Chief Gaunt. What? Creating another fabrication to cover up your past mistakes. Sorry, but I'm no longer the naive little boy you would have me be. With this sudden confession from the defendant, it's obvious to me some kind of deal was struck behind the scenes. Some kind of deal. Not everyone who operates as you do, Worthy. I thought so. Your Honor, the prosecution would like to change its first witness. Oh, to whom? As its first witness, the prosecution would like to call Miss Emma Skye. I request the court hears her testimony. Mr. Edgeworth, I'm exercising my right to self-representation. I do not think we need to continue. I do not care what you think, Miss Skye. The exposure of the truth sometimes results in tragedy. However, no matter how tragic the truth may be, it would be an even greater tragedy to avert one's eyes from it. Very well. Court shall grant the prosecution's request. That's okay with you, right, Chief Gaunt? Worthy, you'll live to regret this. Mark my words. Miss Emma Skye, please take the stand. Looks like Edgeworth has decided to take the horse by the reins. Hi, Emma. Now then, witness, please state your name and occupation. My name is Emma Skye. My occupation, I'm Mona's little sister and want to be a scientific investigator. 2 years ago, you encountered the serial killer, Joe Dock, of the Joe Dock killings. Is this correct? Yes. I'm trying my hardest to forget about that, though. I'm sorry, but I'm afraid I'm going to have to ask you to recall those events one more time. Miss Edgeworth, please remember that this trial concerns the murder of Detective Goodman. Is an incident that was resolved 2 years ago really all that relevant? Yes, it most certainly is. Well, okay then. He sure gave him fast. Now, please testify about what happened to you 2 years ago. Trip to yesteryear has finally begun. It's bound to lead to the truth behind the trial. Yeah, spare these fries. Okay. I was waiting in my sister's office that day. A man came running in and took me hostage. Neil Marshall rescued me, but I'll never forget what I saw in that instant. The man raised up his knife and stabbed Mr. Marshall in the chest. It's a good thing you weren't armed. I passed out. I don't remember much. That's understandable. However, please tell me, Miss Edgeworth, what does this testimony have to do with Detective Goodman's murder? That will soon become apparent to Your Honor. A.K.A. you have no clue. I've got to admire him for his courage, considering he has no evidence. Very well. The defense may begin its cross-examination. Hi, Emma. Oh, 2 years ago, the defendant was detected with the police department, correct? Yes, she was second in command under then Deputy Chief of Police, Damon Gaunt. My sister, she was the best detective ever. Yes, I remember. Deputy Chief Gaunt and Miss Skye were quite the pair. I believe they share the same office. That's right. I always sit at my sister's desk and dream about playing that over again. I had to play it that day too. The police department and the prosecutor's office held a ceremony that day. Not a problem is to take me to dinner after she finished her work. A man. Yes, Joe Dark. He was a serial killer. Joe Dark was brought in for questioning. We were desperate to get anything on him that would lead to an arrest. When he saw his chances, he fled the room, right? Upon filling the room, Doc proceeded to take the elevator. He must have been in panic because the elevator was going up. Then he ran onto Skye and Gaunt's office. There was a lot of noise coming from outside, so I opened up the door to have a look. That's when I saw him. What was the prosecutor doing there? That day there were 2 people present during Doc's questioning. Deputy Chief Damon Gaunt and Prosecutor Neil Marshall. I almost forgot about Gaunt. Neil Marshall had just received the King of Prosecutors Award. Young and dedicated, he went straight to the questioning room after the ceremony. I assume that would also be why he was the first to run after Dark. When Dark grabbed me, I thought I was good as dead. That's when Prosecutor Marshall came in, running in. I don't clearly remember what happened then. But can you tell us about that? Mr. Marshall jumped on Dark. Just then, the lights went out. The lights? It was just about this time of year. There was a terrible storm going on, and the lightning struck nearby. So the electricity went out. Wait a minute. If it was pitch dark in that room, you shouldn't have been able to see anything, right? Right, but then the lightning flashed again outside, and then suddenly flashed left. That sudden flash left an unforgettable image in the scene of my mind. I see. I told the detective what I saw then. Detective? Yes, Detective Goodman. He was in charge of the case. Detective Bruce Goodman, the victim. So you spoke to Detective Goodman about this 2 years ago? Yes, that's what's so scary about this trial. You told Detective Goodman about what you saw. Yes, but at the time the words just wouldn't come out. That's why I drew a picture. Picture? This picture, the witness drew, I believe it has a very important meaning. But the list of evidence I was given 2 years ago didn't contain a picture. Witness, would you mind if you added this to your testimony? Yes, Your Honor. I'm curious. Mr. Edgeworth, this little girl put all her heart into drawing that picture. And yet you would insist on denying its existence? Huh? Hey, I'm not the bad guy. All I'm saying is that as the prosecutor for that case, I wasn't handed such a picture. That may well be, but that doesn't mean it doesn't exist. Behold, this is the evidence list for the SL9 incident. Please turn it over, Your Honor. Turn it over? What's this? Yes, what is that? Hey, that's it. That's the picture I drew. Indeed. 2 men appear to be arrested here. What's the meaning of this? What are you doing with that list? Me? Only a prosecutor in charge should have access to that list. Huh? These lists. They're different from each other. What? It would appear, Mr. Edgeworth, that the evidence list you handed 2 years ago was incomplete. These 2 lists fit together to form one. You can see the marks here where they were torn apart from each other. So you see, Mr. Edgeworth, it's quite obvious what happened. 2 years ago, only half of the evidence in the case ever reached you. What? Oh, what? Order. But Miss Guy, why did you draw your picture on the back of such an important list? Because that's what Detective Goodman handed me in the questioning room, Your Honor. Wait a minute. If this list was torn in half, then that means... Your Honor, you're right, Mr. Wright. Your eyes are bulging from your head. If the evidence list was torn in half, then there might be more of the drawing on the back of Mr. Edgeworth's list. Yes, it's quite conceivable, Mr. Edgeworth. It's possible. Let's see. Is something wrong? Do you even have to ask? He very much looks upset. Sorry, Your Honor. There is indeed something drawn on the back of our list. It's that thing. The badger. That's that thing. That thing that was dancing in the evidence room. Clearly this act of vandalism is the work of certain chief detectives. Guess he was out of scrap paper. Very well, witness. Cheers. We'll see if they fit together like 2 puzzle pieces. It does not look like it does, though. Huh? Oh, yes, sir, Your Honor. What's wrong with Emma? She seemed to be thinking about something while she was looking at the picture. What does the little badger have to do with this? This is the picture I drew 2 years ago. Flash of lightning was so bright that's all I could see were shadows. After that, I must have fainted. Picture shows exactly what I saw in that instant. To think a flash of lightning could burn such an image in your mind. Makes that, though, she was able to show us exactly what she saw. Well, I don't see any contradictions here. This clearly shows Joe Dark about to murder prosecutor Neil Marshall. Defense may now begin its cross-examination. Blech. Did you draw this picture right after the incident? I think I drew it 2 or 3 days later. At first, I was in such a state of shock that I couldn't do anything. During that time, the investigation team was reorganized. Detective Goodman was placed in charge, under the direction of Damon Gaunt and Honest Guy. 2 or 3 days later, the memory should still have been fresh in our mind. Excuse me, witness. But can you please tell us why this picture is painted all black? So at the time, you didn't even know it was Mr. Marshall who had come to your rescue? No, I couldn't see him clearly. The lightning was so bright, and I was knocked to the floor. You were knocked to the floor? Dark had a tight grip on me, but when Mr. Marshall jumped on him, I was knocked away. I turned around, and that's when the lightning flashed. Poor Emma. I'm just glad she wasn't here. What happened after the lightning flashed? You mean you didn't see the actual murder take place? No, I'm sorry. A flash of lightning only drove off the darkness for a split second. Not only that, but the trauma of the situation understandably caused the witness to faint. Do you really need to torture this girl any further? What? Hey, I'm not the bad guy here. Anyway, this picture. Sorry for asking so many times. Why are you sure you drew exactly what you saw? Of course, this is the exact scene, but it wasn't influenced in any way from your talks with detectives. Are you insinuating we somehow manipulated her memory, Mr. Wright? No, of course not. I'd better watch out or you might find some way to cut my salary. I drew this picture before I heard anything from the detectives, so I don't think anyone's story would have influenced me. Mr. Wright, is there something that's bothering you about this picture? Oh, well, that's strange. She claims this is a... Huh? Pause. Ah. He couldn't have been stabbed there to die. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but this picture the witness drew contains a blatant contradiction. What? But I still remember it like it was yesterday. Mr. Wright, perhaps it would be faster if you simply pointed out this contradiction for us. The contradiction, of course, lies here. Take a look at the knife the man is holding. If you look closely, you can see its tip is broken. Oh. Okay. So, 2 different thoughts bring me to the same conclusion. Okay. The fact is that the tip is broken on the knife already, meaning it had to be used beforehand. But my assumption was because of the angle of attack, he would have been going slash down, and it would have been weird to hit his heart and then his lung. But Mr. Wright, look at the evidence. See the murder weapon? Its tip is broken too. If I recall, the tip of the knife was found broken in the victim's body. It was the conclusive piece of evidence that proved Joe Dark was the murderer. I'm afraid it's not so simple. And where, pray tell, could you possibly see a problem? It's obvious, really. The victim suffered a single stab wound to the back. It's really hard to stab from the back like that. If the victim was only stabbed once, then the murder weapon should not yet be broken. What's the meaning of this? Perhaps the knife was broken beforehand. Again, could not have been. Sorry, but I'm afraid that's not possible. The tip of the knife was found inside the victim's body. If it was broken beforehand, it couldn't possibly have wound up there. Wound up there, whatever. That's right, but what does this mean? The tip of the knife was undeniably discovered within the victim's body. The only possible explanation is the witness's memory is a mistake. That's why I asked her so many times if she was sure she remembered correctly. I believe you were annoyed at the time, but she was sure she remembered correctly. But there's no other way to explain the inconsistency. Not so fast, Mr. Edgeworth. There's another explanation. Have you forgotten already? About a little something called falsified evidence? You're treading on thin ice, right? All I'm saying is that this broken knife tip might be the piece of evidence that was forged. You can't deny the possibility. No. Why? Order. Are you saying the investigation really was corrupted? Your Honor, please allow me to once again go over the events that took place the day of the murder. The police department and the prosecutor's office were holding a ceremony that day. After receiving the King Prosecutor's Award at the ceremony, Neil Marshall questioned Joe Dark along with David Gaunt. During his questioning, Joe Dark fled the room. Prosecutor Marshall chased after him and was killed by Dark. It is my belief that somewhere in the story there is a lie. I'm not lying. The man really was holding a broken knife. If that's true, then there's no other way around it. This could not have been the actual murder weapon. There must have been another broken knife. What are the chances of being two broken knives? Could there have been one? There is another one. If the witness is this adamant about the accuracy of what she saw, it can't just be explained by a simple observational error. Mr. Wright, in that instant, Emma really did see a broken knife. I assume, then, that you have some information about this other broken knife. If so, please feel free to enlighten us. The murder weapon was already broken prior to the murder. There's only one way. Oh, it wasn't the first page. Blech. If anything's broken here, it's you. Huh? I'm sure this must be all very amusing to you, Mr. Wright. Oh my god, it's that but in the picture. The answer lies in the past, 2 years in the past. Right inside this picture. Picture of the award ceremony. What is it, Mr. Edgeworth? It's the broken murder weapon. What is the award Prosecutor Marshall is holding that I showed you? That's a broken knife. That's a broken knife. As we earlier concluded, the knife in the drawing was not Joe Dark's knife. That being the case, the knife the witness saw was in all likelihood from this award. Order. Neil Marshall was awarded the King of Prosecutors that day. As an award, he was given this broken shield and knife. When he chased after Joe Dark, he pulled out this knife. Being a prosecutor, he did not carry a pistol. This broken knife was the only weapon he had in this dangerous situation. But that can't be. Oh, and why not, Mr. Edgeworth? Because if the King of Prosecutor Award knife was the murder weapon, then the murderer and the victim would be reversed. What do you mean? I mean, this man raising a knife would have been Prosecutor Neil Marshall. Huh. Yeah, would be. Wouldn't it? So I wonder who murdered Marshall. But the prosecutor was the one who actually died. That's true. It seems Mr. Wright has been a bit too eager to jump to conclusions. Lana? Emma. Wait, I remember now. I remember everything. Witness? Mr. Edgeworth. What is it? Could you show me your evidence list again, please? Is this the one with the picture scribbled on the back? The badger. Yeah, what does the badger have to do with it? I knew it. This picture. I'm the one who drew it. You drew that? That's right. The list wasn't torn in half at the time I drew this picture. Why is it sideways? All this time I'm trying so hard to forget. I must have locked this part away deep inside me. The episode would be best if we edited this. Yes, Your Honor. First the knife mix up and now the blue badger? This should be interesting. When I saw that man raise his knife, I panicked and rushed towards the both of them. I think I knocked away the man with the knife. Just then there was another flash lightning, and that's when I saw the blue badger. He wasn't in the room, but I'm sure I saw his shadow. Yeah, where would he have been? Try impossible. The chief detectives hadn't even signed him until this year. I mean, he didn't even exist until 2 years ago. Stop, please. Don't pursue this any further. Lana? What's the meaning of this? Please remain seated in the fence chair. But you can't do this. I've already confessed the crime. Why can't you just leave it at that? Chief Prosecutor Sky. We've already come this far. It's too late to turn back. Silence. The defense will now begin its cross-examination. Bailiff, please detain the defendant. Seems we're finally getting to the core of the matter. What the heck looks like the badger? Pause. The heck looks like this thing? Maybe? When you say that man, I'm assuming you're referring to Joe Dark. Yes, at least I think that was him. You think? All I could really see were shadows. Power outage. I'll start documenting the prosecutor's office reports. What do you mean you think? It all happened so fast, and I was in shock. I don't clearly remember everything clearly, but it was all kind of a blur. This guy was almost killed before she witnessed to a murder take place. With so much happening in a matter of seconds, a little disorientation is only natural. I saw the man about to stab the other person, who I thought was Mr. Marshall. I knew I had to stop the man with the knife. What you did was very brave, young girl. So what happened next? This. Are you sure about this? Of course. See? I even drew a picture of him. But it was the chief of detectives who thought up this hideous beast. That was just this year. The blue badger didn't exist till 2 years ago. I know it sounds strange. I was surprised, too, when I saw him at the police department. I had this nagging feeling like I'd seen him before somewhere. Now I finally remember. Oh, brother, just when you thought this thing had enough commotion. Tell us, where in the room did you see him dancing? His shadow. You can actually see his face with its winning smile and all. That's right, but I still remember it. He had 3 creepy horns. This is pointless. That thing couldn't have possibly existed 2 years ago. The witness must be mistaken. That may well be. But what's important is what caused her to think she saw what she did. Oh, and I'm supposing you haven't. I'm assuming I might know. Mr. Wright. I'm assuming it's supposed to be this. Mysterious Blue Badger was in fact this ugly-ass pot. But that's... what exactly is this? I believe it's some sort of jar. Sorry, ugly jar. But Mr. Wright, that doesn't look anything like the Blue Badger. Indeed it doesn't. And as it stands now, it's just a plain jar. However, what if we were to change our viewpoint? There we go. It's so hard to maneuver. There we go. There we go. Is that close enough? Well, is this a miracle or what? Yeah, close enough. No one can possibly deny this jar resemblance to the Blue Badger. No, it can't be. A different representation of the Blue Badger. Order, order. The defense has proven its claim. Mysterious Blue Badger witnessed on the day of the crime was actually this. Although we enjoyed Mr. Wright's dramatic performance, one question remains. What's your point? What do you mean? So the badger thing was actually just a jar. That doesn't change anything. Au contraire. I'm afraid that's where you're wrong, Mr. Edgeworth. You see, this changes everything. But it kinda does. Indeed. Then, please, tell us, what's the difference now that we know the witness? I don't know that one. Terrible jar, there's a hole in the bottom and the top. Maybe there's a vase if you closed up the bottom. Or close up this bottom. Maybe widen the top. Or the location, I'm assuming. May take these in turn. The moment of the murder, the witness saw the jar. Very specific angle I meant, Mr. Wright. Yes, well, knowing this, where could she have seen this jar? The location of the jar is shown in the picture taken on the day of the crime. Shelf! In the office, Damon gone. But the body was found lying near Lana Sky's desk. The witness testified herself. Yes, and it's these two facts that reveal exactly what transpired. How is that very different? It's the same gosh darn room. You see, the struggle between Dark and Marshall did not take place in Lana Sky's office. It happened on the other side of the room in Chief Scone's office, which happens to be the same room. Why do we not investigate the whole room? I'm playing the matter of move the victim's body from Damon Gaunt's office to Lana Sky's office, which was theoretically the same room, and we should have investigated all of it. Yes? Why would he do that? There's no reason. Exactly, it's the same freaking room. Exactly. If there wasn't a reason, he wouldn't have gone through the trouble. Only logical conclusion, there was a reason. Do you know what the reason was, Mr. Wright? No. Have you? Oh. Gotcha. She said she knocked away the man who was holding the knife. In the next instant, the jar was hit and flew through the air. Now tell me, what could have sent the jar flying? It would have had to been the impact the man made when he knocked into the wall. Ladies and gentlemen, if I may draw your attention to this picture once more. What the heck is standing right there? The man was knocked in the direction of the shelf the jar was sitting on. What would he have hit? The suit armor, holding a very sharp and dangerous-looking sword. Yes. And since the man who was knocked into the armor was carrying a broken knife, he would have had to be Neil Marshall, wielding the prosecutor's trophy. No, Mr. Wright, you can't be thinking. Yes. There's another possibility of what actually transpired in that room. Another possibility? Yes, I know I'm lower down, but it's super late. Of course, the perpetrator would have had no idea, but nevertheless. I don't know. Oh my god, Jesus. If events took place as events there, as then the outcome is obvious. In that moment, assuming the this guy knocked away is actually prosecutor Neil Marshall, EMA killed Neil. Sorry, Emma. You mean Mr. Marshall died because of me? No! Bye, Emma. Never imagined her testimony would lead to this. So as witness who took the victim's life, and then proved so with her own testimony. This is unprecedented. Yes, it was an accidental killing, y'all. What are you even saying? I'm sorry, Miss Guy, but given the circumstances, Joe Dog murdered Prosecutor Marshall. How can you think it was Emma? How dare you try to pin the crime on her? Imagine that, coming from you. If you recall, it was you who admitted to forging evidence 2 years ago. The reason you moved the Prosecutor Marshall's body was to keep anyone else from finding out about what Emma did, wasn't it? I assure you, Mr. Ashworth, I have no idea what you're talking about. If you hope to have anyone believe your insane allegations, I'm afraid you're going to have proof. Tell me, do you have any conclusive evidence that proves my sister killed Neil Marshall? Evidence? I'm willing to bet you don't. Yes. Certainly difficult to prove this. If we don't have any evidence, then we'll have to rely on testimony. I'm afraid that won't work in this case. Both parties involved in the incident are dead. Certainly can't get dead people to testify. It has all been a wild goose chase for nothing. Touche, Miss Guy. Of course, that only leaves us with one possibility. I mean the possibility that the victim has left us a message. For better or worse, Miss Marshall did not die instantly. He may have left behind the name of the person who took his life. Oh, we're on to this again in one minute or another. That's impossible. Well, Mr. Wright? Message. Does such a message exist? It is... Mr. Wright, will you stop at nothing to prove my sister a murderer? Our purpose is not to accuse Emma of any crime. It's only one thing we seek, the truth. No matter how painful it may be. Theoretically, it doesn't exist anymore. This is the message left by the deceased. Is that the blue badger? Oh, is he just going to speak the killer's name? If that thing could... Looks like everyone's forgotten this is just a jar. But... Y'all are all idiots. Then again, I'm talking the same courtroom that could flip over a goddamn piece of paper. Sorry, paperized plastic. Message was left here on the surface of the jar. Jar, jar. If you look closely, you can see a faint trail of blood on the jar. Looks like someone wiped the blood away. Yes, but notice, for some reason, the blood of some of the fragments of the jar was not wiped away. It says on here, drawn in blood. So what you're saying is these dots on the jar were once lines on the jar. Prosecutor Marshall did not die instantly. He used the few precious moments left to him to leave behind a message on the jar. When that someone apparently wiped away, but blood must have seeped into the jar where the lines changed directions. Precisely so. All we need to do is connect these points. The victim's message will become apparent. No! Do. You have terrible handwriting. Oh. Emma. I'm trying to spell fucking Emma. okay. I'm dumb. Don't mind me. I spent 5 minutes trying to spell the wrong name. It's defendant's attorney's duty to prove their client's innocent. That's why I've been about saving Lana. And after all my efforts, I never thought it'd turn out like this. Emma. So this is the final message Prosecutor Marshall left behind. So it seems. Of all people, she may not admit it, but in the end, the one who took the victim's life was Emma Skye. See, Willie, can't say I didn't warn you. Chief Gaunt, do you understand the implications of what you've done? What are you talking about? 2 years ago, Joe Dark was sentenced to death. He was convicted because of his final murder. I believe you were the prosecutor in the case, were you not? Yes, Willie, because of you. An innocent man was sentenced to death. Not only that, but you used forged evidence to ensure his conviction. You're being dumb, Gaunt. But Joe Dark really was a serial murderer. That's undeniable. I'm afraid that's not important. Didn't you know we aren't defenders of justice? What? Estelle, we're merely keepers of the law. Sentencing a man to death is no light matter. Even if there wasn't any cover-up or evidence forgeries, ultimately the responsibility falls on the prosecutor in charge. Despite what anyone may say, this fact cannot be denied. You're not gonna get order in this court. But also, you're being real dumb. The gavel's pounding fell on deaf ears. Unable to settle the crowd, the judge declared a recess. Where the trial is headed, no one knows. To be continued. It was only 40 minutes. I should... Yes, I would like to save. Okay, now, give me a 6. Because... at some point, I'm just gonna start streaming these because Lord knows that I'm already gonna be sitting here for an hour and a half or 2 hours. Yeah, but that is it for this video. I'm probably gonna record it for the rest of tonight. It might be kind of tall order because I may be ending close to 1 in the morning, but it's okay. I work till 2. So, hopefully you will enjoy. Hopefully the voices aren't too off. And we should actually be getting into some really fun aspects of this case. Yay, because it's the last one. And then I'll have to figure out what I'm going to record, but it's the last one. Hence also why I'm trying to bulk record. So, hopefully you all enjoy. And I'll see you all in the next one. Bye, guys.
Yeah.